I'm able to do this new fingering method.
Yes.
I'm able to do it with this right hand.
Yeah, just stop trying to use your tips of your fingers. So let's first start with this. What I did is I've written out the most common keys that we run into, which is C, G, D, and E flat, and especially in jazz.
Yeah,
And
I know all
E
keys.
flat especially comes up a lot.
Right.
And what I'm going to do is today, before you leave, I'm going to give you a crap load of music that's all in E flat. And what we're going to do is play it in your C scale, which is B flat concert, or in your G scale, which is F concert. And the reason for that is B flat and F are the two best keys for playing along with horns. The only place that woodwinds and horns can get together is on those black keys. Okay, B flat and F are two keys that horn players, trumpet players, trombone players, baritone, tuba, all the horns can play in those keys easily. So that is why woodwinds and horns, when they do get together, they're usually in the key of B flat or F. Almost always. So yeah, the reason being trumpets are in the key of B flat, and trombones are tuned to B flat as well. So when they're playing their C scale, which is easy for them, they're in B flat, just like when you're playing your C scale. And one of the reasons people start with the C scale for reading is because there's no sharps or flats. But that's not a reason to start, because in my system, you ignore them anyway. Once you figure out where one is, you just toss it all away anyway, and you only deal with it as it comes up, right? So it's not any harder in one key than another. I find that, though, starting in E flat, where you're on the bottom line, makes sense to people. Take a look at a little pattern that evolves here. You see in C, all the odd numbers wind up on lines, right?
Right.
In E flat, all the odd numbers wind up on lines. And in G, all the odd numbers wind up on lines. So you can simplify this too, just simply saying if it's on a line, it's an odd number, and if it's on a space, it's an even number. And that's all your brain needs to get started, really.
Right. I know.
Really all you need. So your eyeball says, oh, it's on a space, it must be an even number. Oh, it's on a... The only time that this breaks is when you get into D, and then what happens is it reverses. The spaces then become your odd numbers, and the lines become even numbers. But you still have this pattern of 1, 3, 5, 7 being one thing, and 2, 4, 6 being the other.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that when I'm practicing the a 2, 5, 1 progression in all the keys, is that I would have to, when I was going above the first octave, I would have to reflect back on the first octave and not have to worry about what it is above the
above it, right? Yeah, and what happens is, of course, it reverses. For instance, in C, all your lines here are odd numbers, but then when you get to that C, it now goes to a space, right? So now 1, 3, and 5 are going to be the spaces above.
Right.
So, and then that'll go up for that octave, and then what happens is it'll come right back where it started.
Right.
So 2 lines above here,
right, at C.
Right there, you're back to C. So that's the same as that. So that means that every line above that, there would be 3, right? And if you see that, and these leisure lines, is what happens to flute players and piccolo players, and they can't read that because they get so many leisure lines that their music is never on the staff. And they have to count all these little lines to figure out where the frig they are, right? And then once they get their bearing, as they're reading, if their eye skips one line off, boom, they go crazy, right? I've had piccolo players especially come here, wanted to learn my number system because their music was never on the staff. So once they figured out that it was like the second line, then you could see where the second line is in every case, and then it was easy for them to see, right? Boom, boom, it all just snapped in. And it was fun teaching two piccolo players how to play their piccolo part for the Star Spangled Banner, you know, that was just gorgeous to play with. And with ABC, they couldn't even figure out where they were. Right? Then when we figured out what key they were in, and we just drilled them with the key, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they found out that they didn't have to think about it at all. They just used the fingering pattern and just watched their eye bounce up and down, and they just bounced around with the eye.
So I've been doing this kind of stuff every day.
Exactly. And I'll show you the thing I'm talking about on my website. I'm going to show you in just a minute to get your eyeball going. But I just wanted to show you this. Now, what I did here is I've written out in the key of G every position. So 1, 3, 5, 7 are still on the lines. 2, 4, 6 are still on the spaces. Then the high one goes to a space. And then what happens is you get these numbers that go below, 7, 6, 5. And generally when you're reading music in the key of G, it rarely goes below that. Rarely goes below the 5. So if you can get these three numbers underneath one in your head, you're pretty much safe. Now songs usually come in two bandwidths. Okay? They go from 1 to a high 1, and you'll see that in things like Joy to the World, where you start out on the top note and you go 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the one song Over the Rainbow, because that goes
right.
It goes
1, 1, 7. You know, and 1, 6, 5, 7, 1. And then it comes right back down, and drops down to 1, and it goes up to 6, 5. So yeah, and then in Christmas songs and in jazz tunes, it goes from a low 5 to a high 5, where 1 winds up being right in the middle. So you get these two bandwidths, from 1 to 1 or from 5 to 5. Now if we're playing your C scale, we can play the first octave easily, and then the next octave is all using the octave key, same fingering, right? And that's cool for playing songs that go from 1 to 1. But if you're going to go from 5 to 5, I don't have any notes down here, right? And I ain't got any extras up here. So what we do is we shift to the G scale. And by shifting to the G scale, we move this guy up to where the 5 was, and now I've got room for those notes below, and I've got a little bit, I can use 3 ledger lines, 2 3 ledger lines here to take us all the way up to the number 5. And most songs like The Star Spangled Banner, for instance, is an octave and a half wide, and it comes down to this low 5, and it goes all the way up to a high 3. So you get some songs which require divas to sing, like our Star Spangled Banner, where it's an octave and a half wide. Rarely is a song more than 1 octave wide. Rarely is it more than 1 octave wide. Now in jazz, they like to bounce around on the octave a lot, so they will play in the upper octave and then you drop in the lower and up, and you bounce back and forth, but generally it's the same number patterns, which makes that easier to do. You're playing a 5, 6, 5, 1, and then 5, 6, 5, 1. So that's what happens with keys. Now today, what we're going to do is let's take your G scale and let's just work on the G scale and just work that G scale to death today. Okay? So start with your G, which is, as we know, F. Then can you go down to the 5? That's it, right? Right, 5. There you go. And so you can go up here, and you can probably also go to the 2 above that, and you could probably go to the 3 above that, right? And that would be about, that right there is about where, you know, it takes a lot of pressure to hold it. So, okay, so what we're going to do is do most of our playing right in that area there. Okay? The first thing is a very simple. My teacher Ben taught me, brilliant classical pianist who is composer, and he said all songs come in only five types. There's 2-note phrases, 3-note phrases, 4-note phrases, and 5-note phrases, and that's about it. Rarely in a song will there be a riff that's more than 5 notes. Right? So when you're practicing scales, what you'd want to do is break them up into groups of 2, groups of 3, groups of 4, and groups of 5. Now Ambersol does 5. They start you out with the first 5 notes of every key, right? And they just work those 5 notes until you can improvise and jam in them. And that's pretty much what Ambersol does. Until after you can play those 5 notes in several different keys and start moving around, then they'll add in the 6, the 7, and they'll go up to the octave. But they pretty much just stay within one hand's worth of, of melody. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that G scale, and we're going to think of G as 1, and go from G to A, which would be 1, 2. Then we play 2 again, and then 3, 4, and you have to go 1, 2, 1, 2, take a breath, and then 2, 3, take a breath, and then 3, 4. You'll see why we do that. It's so your fingers can learn how to take off from each position.
Yeah, you know what? I've been doing this.
It's a really good, simple thing to do. Then time that. Now time this one. Then 5, 6, 6, 7. All right, and then 7. And then now coming down, it'd be 1, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Now let's try it again. Ready? 1, 2, ready, play. And now just a little bit faster where we go ba da 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 da. You ready? And you tongue each one.
Okay.
1, 2, ready, go. Again, we skip one. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, again, you ready? 1, 2, ready, play. Then. Now, those are 2-note phrases. Now, let me show you how you do. There's only 3 things that you can do to create emotion with an instrument. And it's surprising that they don't teach this, because there's only 3. Okay? And they each have their opposite. Okay? So what happens when I play this if I get louder? If I start out soft and then I get louder, it'll sound like this. And then I'm going to get softer. You see a nice gradual crescendo, a nice gradual decrescendo. Louder. Now. Yeah, let's do it again together. You ready? Starting out soft and getting loud. 1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, I
That's how it's good.
You skipped one, but you got the idea now.
Yeah.
Now let's see how soft to the loudest. Go from the softest you can to the loudest you can in that period of time. No, I mean just as you're playing. Starts just soft. Then the next one louder.
Oh, okay.
Then what we've been doing, but doing it more. Louder, 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 louder. Now, down. What's happening is you're not tonguing the first note, so you're legatoing into it, and then it's hard to tell the difference between the 7 and the 7 and the 6. See what I'm saying? It's good. It sounds like you're going 5, 6, 5, 4. That should be 5, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3. Got to hit that first.
Okay.
So again, from soft to as loud as we can get. You ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Louder. With each step, get louder. Get louder. And now as you come down, get softer. Da, da.
Okay.
Now the next one, softer, and softer, and softer, and softer. That's it. So now your dynamic range is about like that, and we want it to be like that, and eventually it will be like that, right? I have a limit on how loud the horn will get, unfortunately. Sometimes I plug it into the amp, and then I can get some real dynamic range out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now the next thing that you can do to create emotion in music is to speed up and to slow down. Now when you're going up, it's normal to speed up. So it would be like this. See, that feels very normal to do that. Then coming down, slowing down. And see right away it has an emotional envelope. So try that. Tardando is really nice, but the speeding up is not as smooth. So let's try very slow. Now a little fast. So again, we want to exaggerate that from. And slowly speed up. Yeah, and now as you come down, slow down. Kids. Yeah, so you get the idea of speeding up and slowing down.
Right.
Now, what's unnatural and has to be practiced is as you go up, slowing down. Now, what happens is as we're going up, we're getting more energy in each note, right? So it's very unnatural to slow that down. But it actually has more dramatic impact on people because it's something they're not used to hearing. So watch what happens if I do this. I go. I'm going to start out fast and go slow. And then a little faster. Now you're blowing the exercise. So get that. And then slowing down. Slowing down, that's very natural, but what if I were to speed up going down? So we're hearing the pitch drop and get less intense, but it's going faster and faster, and what you get is, again, this opposite feeling that's even more dramatic. So if I start up here, going really slow, going... that sounds, because it's unnatural. You'll find that these things, going from here to there, getting loud, that's natural, but going up soft, that's unnatural. Okay? Coming from here down and getting slow or soft, that's natural. But coming down fast or coming down loud, that's the opposite, and that's unnatural. And those are the things that people have to practice because they always do what's natural. They don't do what's unnatural. And so for everything, there's its opposite, right? So you want to, it's like in karate, I had to learn to do a judo throw from the right side of my body, and then the teacher would make it reverse and do it from the left side, right? So we get attacked from the right or the left, we can do the same throw. And it's the same thing here. So getting loud and getting soft are ways of creating emotion. If you're going up in pitch and you speed up, that's natural. But if you go up in pitch and slow down, that's unnatural and is more dramatic. If I'm falling down and I get slower or softer, that's natural. But if I fall down and I speed up as I'm falling down, or I get louder as I'm falling down, I kind of think of it as a train coming at you down a hill, right? If you hear a train coming at you, it sounds very far away, but as it gets closer, it gets louder and louder and louder and louder until it passes you, right? Then you can hear the pitch drop as it goes by. You can actually hear it go, whoa, 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 whoa. And you can tell when it passes you because the pitch drops. It's called Doppler effect. So the same thing here. Now, here's the third thing that creates emotion, and that is playing long notes and short notes. So if I played the first note long and the next one short, it'd be like this. Oops, turn it on. It would be like this. And then long, short. Long, short, long, short, long, short. Long, short, long, short, and you can see why we broke it into two-note phrases. So, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, and coming down, long, short, long, short, long, short. Right, and that's using this thing. It's kind of like Morse code, long, short. Now, here's what's really hard, going short, long. If I reverse that, I'm putting an accent on the second note, and that only happens in usually Spanish music where there's a lot of offbeat stuff. When we do a lot of what's called syncopation, it's where the second note gets the emphasis rather than the first note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse this figure. I'm going to make that note short and the second note long. So it'll go like this. feels to do, but it's unnatural. And again, people don't do that short, long, short, long. But when you're playing Joe Beam or you're playing a lot of this beautiful calypso or Spanish American music, that's what they're doing. They're throwing the accent on the second note rather than the first note. So they're going bum 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 ba da da bum 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 bum. They're accenting the second note, the upbeat. So that creates that syncopation feel. Happens a lot in jazz. So using long and short, short and long, we're not creating this kind of Morse code. Now, if I'm going long, short, something else I can do, I can create the sound of two instruments by myself if I'm very careful about how I accent things. If I accent the first one very loud and then make the next one short, and then accent this one loud and that one short, you'll see that every other note is just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And I can sound like I'm playing a slower accented thing with this little thing in the middle. So it sounds like this. Now if I do it fast, it's one of the notes, and the other one's an auxiliary. Accent. Yeah. There you go. Now what we just did is we took a simple two-note phrase going up and down the scale, and we added these musicality to it. And you'll notice that everyone sounded a little emotionally different. And it would be no different than if I said play it like a jazz musician, or play it like a hillbilly, or play it like a calypso, or play it like a German oompa band. You get that idea of what a German oompa band is, and those rhythms you would apply to it, and all of a sudden it would sound like a German oompa band. See, what creates the style of music is the rhythm, more so than anything else. It's the rhythm that creates the style. Okay. So we have these things on the Band in the Box called style sheets, and what style sheets do is they create a band arrangement, and then they decide what rhythms each instrument should have to create that style of music. Style sheets in Band in the Box is a good thing to study. They have a whole editor in Band in the Box just for style sheets, and you can bring up the style sheet and it'll show you what instruments create the band, and then what kind of rhythm they're putting on the bass. Like if it's a South American thing, the bass is going to go boom, 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 boom. It's going to do something that sounds Spanish. If it's a rock and roll, it's going to go boom, 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 boom. So they're changing the rhythm on the bass, changes the style of music. So adding rhythm changes the style. So you can go from South America to Germany to France to by listening to their language. I've noticed that if you listen to the French language, I've figured out why they use double T's and double E's, because when they speak, they hold those letter things longer than we do. They hold the T longer than we, they hold the E longer than we do. So in spelling, they wound up with double E's and double T's a lot. So they'd spell Peter, P-E-T-T-E-R, right? 2 E's and 2 T's. I noticed the Greeks love vowels. They put a crap load of vowels in there, so if you could be an I-O-U-E something, you know, that would be better. L-I-O-U-E-S for Lewis rather than O-U-S. And they shove all those vowels in there, and what happens is that changes the rhythm of the language. And if you listen to a Greek person speak, then you listen to the music, you'll hear the rhythm in the music. And that's what creates the style of the music. Rhythm, more so than anything else. Now, let's do this now on a 3-note phrase. So 2-note phrases. A 3-note phrase, the pattern would be like this. I call it crocheting, because you go up 1, 2, 3, then you come back and go 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, then come back to 3 and go 3, 4, 5. So this pattern sounds like this. Then you go. Then So you just go up the 2 and then down. So let's try it again. We got a point. 1, 2, then 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4. Now go down. Go down to 4, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 1. You're your sharp. And then 7, 7, 1, 7, 1, 2, 1, 7, 1, 2, 1. So that last one is going.
Okay.
7, 1, 2, 1.
Okay.
7, 1. And that's it. Oh, that's how it is. Let's try it again. You ready? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7, 1. Don't forget that has a sharp. And just hit 1. Then 1. Right. Now coming backwards, 1, 7, 6. 1. Then 7, 6, 5. 6, 5, 6, 5, 4. 6, 5, 4. Then 5, 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. Below 7. That'll be your F sharp. And then back up to 1.
Okay.
So you go one note below it, and you go one note above it, all right? So let's try it together. Let's see, wait, I gotta get from your key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm terrible at this stuff.
It's all right, because it'll start to flow if you keep doing it every day. And in about a month and a half, you'll be able to go like this. You'll be able to. 4, 5, 6. Now 5, 6, 7, 6. Now 6, 6, 7, 1. There you go. And then coming down, 1, 7, 6. 7, 6, 5, 6, 5, 4. 4. There you go. 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, low 7, which you use your sharp, back to 1. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. And that sharp's going to be, that 7 is going to be that F sharp every case. Yeah. So you got the pattern now?
Yeah.
All right, now what we do is we're going to do the same thing to this that we did to that. And that would be, first I would try to get louder, going like this. So slowly speeding up, and then slowing back down. So try it very slow. And a little bit faster. A little faster. Somehow you got lost. Yeah, you skipped some. 2, 3, 4, 3, 3. That's where you skip. There you go. 4. Go back. 4, 5, 6, go back, 5, 6, 7, go back, 6, 7, 1, go back, 7, 7, 7, 1, 2, back down to 1. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. You got it. So try that again, very slowly, and see if we can pick up some speed.
I wish I could see it. I wish I could see it. I see the notes.
What it is I call it crocheting, because I don't know if you've ever seen someone crochet, but what they do is they take this hook and they go through a little loop, they grab something and they pull it through. Then they go right back in and do that again. So what you're doing is you're going up, then back one, and then going up, and then backing one, going up. So what you have to remember is after you do the little pattern, you're going to go back one finger. Then you come back up, and then you go back a finger. Go back up and go back a finger. So you're always just going back a finger and starting the pattern again. That might help you remember. Now go back to the 2.
Okay.
See? Now go back to the 2. Now go back to the 3. 3. 3, 4, 5. Back 4. Go back 5. 7. Go back to 6. Okay, you skipped over that one right over there.
Okay.
So you'll get used to it. So something to work on tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, by the way, this 3-note pattern is the most powerful thing I know of. It works better at developing technique than any exercise I've ever played in my life. For some reason, doing triplets and 5-lets and 7-lets, doing things in odd numbers, helps your fingers learn to rock on either side of a note. You know, from this number 2, you're playing 1 and 3 on either side of it, basically. So what's happening is you're learning to kind of create one note as a fulcrum, and the other 2 are on like a teeter-totter. And you're learning to do that up and down the scale. And because it's in triplets, I think in my head the word elephant. So I think elephant, elephant, elephant. So let's see if you can hear the word elephant. See so you can hear it. Yeah, see, triplets. But what he's doing is he's going 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 6. He's not coming back. So he's just going. So
That makes it easier.
See, he's starting on the same. Exactly. I completely agree with you, Walter. It makes it easier, which is why I'm not doing it. This pattern, crocheting, is a little bit harder, but once you get used to this idea of coming back and going up and coming back and going up, it gets pretty easy. Okay, the next exercise to work on is to learn to play chords. And you learn to play chords by playing thirds first. Then you learn to play 2 thirds in a row. So the pattern, it goes odd numbers, even, odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. Kind of interesting. So what I do is I go 1, 3, then 2, 4. Then 3, 5, 4, 6, 5, 7, 6, 1, 7, 2, 1. So what you're doing is you're picking up 2 fingers now, and then picking up 2 fingers. Putting down 1, picking up 2, putting down 1, picking up 2, putting down 1, picking up 2. That's another way to look at it. The number of fingers you use will always be 1 less than the name of the interval. If I want to go from 1 to 5, I'm going to pick up 4 fingers. If I want to go from 2 to 6, I'm going to pick up 4 fingers. It's always going to be 1 number less than the name of the interval. And then, so 4 fingers, you're on the 5. You know, you go 6 fingers, you're on the number 7. You know, et cetera, et cetera. So let's try this one here where we're going. So you're skipping. Now 2, 4. Now 3, 5. Now 4, 6. Now 5, 7. That's it, and then the 6. And then 7. And then down to 1. There you go. Now coming down, it's going to go 1, 6. It's going to go 5, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, low 7, back to 1. So let me do the whole thing for you. Give it a try. It's nice and slow. 1, 3. 3. There you go. 4, 3, 5. 4, 6. 5, 7. 6, 1. 7, 2. High 2. And down to 1. There you go. Now, on that 1, we go 1, 6. High 1. 1, 6. No, 1, 6. Skip 2 fingers. There you go. Then go back up to 7. And 2 fingers. Yeah. And then 6. Drop 2 fingers. Yeah, that's it. 5. 3. 4. 2. 3. 1. 2. There you go. Now that's something that to work on, and what it's going to do is it's giving you half a chord. And then here's where it goes next. Then the last thing to learn to do is to do 2/3 in a row. And now what you're going to get is all the chords, and I think you'll recognize the spellings. See, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6, 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 1, 5, 7, 2, 6, 1, 3, 7, 2, 4, and then 1, 3, 5. So that's the whole chord. And coming back, it's actually shorter. That's a 1 chord, that's a 2 chord, that's a 3 chord, that's a 4 chord, that's a 5 chord, that's a 6 chord, and a 7 chord. This is 1 chord. This is a major chord. The 2 chord is minor. The 3 chord is minor. There you go. No, that's not cheating. It's Ebersol, right? Yeah. It's like Ebersol. And then the 4 chord is major.
So you're doing all the modes?
Yeah, the 5 chord is major. Well, all of these exercises are doing all the modes. First, we're doing them sequentially as a scale, and then we're doing them every other note as chords. And arpeggios, which are broken chords, and scales are the only 2 things you need to develop technique. And I tell people, I know they're boring, but if you add this loud, soft, long, short, fast and slow, they're less boring, and you can make them sound like music. And the more you can take a scale and make it sound like music, the better a musician you are. So then when you go to play music, of course, it's going to be a lot easier to be musical with music than it is with scales. So that's major. And then the 6th chord, this is a minor chord. This is a diminished chord.
7.
Yeah, it's a diminished chord, and then right back to your major 1 chord. So what happens is 1, 3, 5 is a major chord. Then the minor chord is 2, 4, 6. The 3 is also minor. The 4, major. It's also major. Then the minor. Then you diminish. Then back to your 1 chord. So that pattern, yeah, the first one is major, minor, minor, major, major, diminish, minor, and diminish. And that would be the same for all of them. So if we look at C, where's your C? You don't have C here. Let's pull out the C page. There you go. So your C is major. That's major. That's your C. Then the D minor is 2, 4, 6. The natural is minor. Then E, 3, 5, 7 is minor. Then 4-6-1, the 4-6-1 is major again. 5-7-2 is major again. The 6-1-3 is minor, would be A minor if you're in C. And then 7-2-4. Well, now we're playing in G, so that was over there. Yeah. So what we were doing was playing a G major chord, then an A minor chord, a B minor chord, a C major chord, a D major chord, an E minor chord, and we played an F sharp diminished chord. As weird as that seems, it's just those simple numbers. This is your circle of thirds. Say. And by memorizing the circle of thirds going up, you're doing this pattern, but coming down, it would be 4-2-7-3-1-6, 2-7-5-1-6-4. Learning to do the circle in reverse. And this is that circle. 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6. And coming backwards, it would be 3, 1, 6, see? And then 2, 7, 5, and then 1, 6, 4, okay? And then 7, 5, 3, okay? And then 6, 2, 4, and then 5, 3, 1. And coming forward, 1, 3, 5 is your 1 chord. 2, 4, 6 will be your 2 chord. 3, 5, 7, your 3 chord. 4, 6, 1, your 4 chord. 5, 7, 2 is your 5 chord, etc., etc. Now, if we add one more note to it, what we're doing is adding in the 7th.
Right.
So now in jazz, they like to use 7th chords a lot.
Right.
The reason for that is you can use the whole chromatic scale. If you're using 3-note chords, you get stuck on the light keys, and it stays diatonic, and you wind up with these patterns, which are really hard to break. Okay, and a lot of chord progressions from about the 1850s till today have been all about breaking those rules. So you'll see all the way up until about the 19th century, it all makes sense. It makes the numerical sense quite beautifully, and it's almost always integers, and there's almost never any sharps and flats. They played mostly diatonic until the mid-1800s, and then from the 1820s to about the 1900s, that's when a lot of classical musicians were experimenting with really rich harmonies where they were adding 8ths, 9ths, and 11ths, and 13ths into the chord. And all they're doing is just adding an extra note. So if I wanted to play a 1-7 chord, it would be 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, where a 2 chord would be 2, 4, 6, 1. So by adding that one extra note, that's the root, that's the 3rd, that's the 5th, and that would be the 7th of the 2 chord. And that's how that spelling goes. If I wanted to add a 9, I would add one more note. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 2 would be the same as saying 9. A 2 is a 9 as long as it's above a 7. This is another problem. Some people like to put the 2 down here and say it's a 9th chord, but it can't be unless the 7th is below it, because our ear will hear it as 2. If we hear the 7th, we'll then hear the 2 as a 9. So you can rearrange these chords in interesting ways. What you're doing here, if you get to this, doing this exercise, you basically are playing all the chords. You're arpeggiating, you're breaking up the chords. And what's going to happen is they're going to make you go 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. In other words, they'll go from the 2 up to the 2. 2, 4, 6, 2, 6, 4, 2 would be the whole chord. 3, 5, 7, 3 would be the whole chord. So adding the octave above it would be adding the rest of the chord. And then that becomes a, right. Yeah, and then you put a 2 on that, and you put a 3 on that, a 4 at the end of that one, a 5 at the end of that one, exactly, a 6 on the end of that one, and a 7 on the end of that one, and there you are. And you're right. So now you've got the whole chord without the 7th in it. And so what they would do is go. So that's the whole chord. Here, 2, 4, 6, 2. Having problems with my octave. 3, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3. 4, 6, 1. 4. and you'd have the whole chord. Now this is it. These things are all the exercises I want you to do with scales.
Okay.
And we're doing it in the G scale. I would like you also to try them in the C scale.
Sure.
So you're playing your G and your C scale. So take these with you.
Thank you.
And this you already know. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bunch of songs that are to take home and look through tonight. And all of these are in E flat. So the bottom line is the number 1, which makes it easy to read, right? 1, 2, 3, then you skip to 5, 4. So this is starting. So again, if you're playing your G scale, the 5 would be your low D, right? So you go. Here again. And here 2, 6. And right back here. And it goes 1, 6. There's that 1, 6 I talk about. Then 7, 5. 1, 6. 7, 5. And then over here, same thing. It's in the same thing, but it starts on a 5, and again, that bottom line is 1. So you have. Go on, kiddo. Now it has a 5 sharp. Then on the 6. And these are all diatonic. This one has only 1 sharp in it. That has no sharps in that. Then the next song will.
So wait a second now.
They're all in E flat. So you're going to play them in G. Play just
Okay.
by number like.
Okay. I'm transposing the G.
Yeah. And then here you'll see this one is all diatonic except there'll be 1 4 sharp in the music. So you have to know where 4 sharp is. And then what happens is. A 4 sharp and a 5 sharp are the 2 you have to learn, and then this is right. So just look them over and play them in the key we've been playing, which is G.
Okay.
By number. Don't worry about the key signature.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just play them by number. So that would be your D and that would be your G.
Right. Okay. I got it.
And we've been playing by number of these exercises, so you have the numbers and G pretty much in your head.
Very good.
And I think you'll see you'll be able to play those by tomorrow. We'll work on those tomorrow. And I'll show you some more about this phrasing stuff. So what are the 3 things that cause emotion in music?
Well, we have the
They say you should learn a
volume,
piece well enough
the
that you
rhythm
can play
of
it easily
this
without
on
stopping
speed,
or
and
hesitating. Then you have a nice even tempo.
the rhythm.
Long or short?
This is
Yeah.
the thing that tells
Yeah.
you
Exactly. Staccato or legato.
what speed
And
it
combinations
should
of
go if you
staccato
have a
legato
metronome.
create
So
emotion.
this says quarter note
They create a little
equals
rhythm or a little
60 to
emotion, and you just hold
120.
that figure
So
as you're
quarter
playing
note is
through
the
the
1
scale.
count note.
Exactly. So
So
even if
60
we
was
augment,
like 1,
put long notes
2,
with short, like on the
3,
3,
4, that's
if we
not
play the
bad.
first
7,
one long and the next 2 short, it would be like this.
60 beats per
See,
second.
I play long, short, short.
Per minute.
And then,
Well, 120 would be twice as fast. 660 was 102. 120 would be 102. Twice as fast. Anyway, you want
Weird.
to number it?
so adding long and short suddenly turns it into a little kind of little Latin American rhythm thing.
Sure. Now, can I ask you, it's not something we talked about today, but one thing that,
I'll give you your seat in just a minute.
Oh no, I'm gonna sit here.
I got it all warmed up for you.
The other thing is we put
one
an
thing
X
I'd like to learn how to do better is,
put the X on there.
I mean, I've been working on it every day for a few weeks, and that is to
This note is
be
one,
able
so
to
we have to-
sing in pitch.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we're doing. I'm going to just tomorrow. That's exactly what I intend on doing. I'm going to show you how to, we're going to number music, and then we're going to sing the numbers, and then play it, and see how close your singing comes to the playing. And you'd be surprised if you do that.
Normally,
You get it.
I've been
The right
sort
hand,
of
1, 3, 5 is
practicing
on
every day.
lines,
I have
but
this
in the
little
left
thing,
hand, 1,
and
3, 5 is
it
going
plays
to
the note,
spaces.
and then what I do is it says sing the note, and I sing the note, and then I pick up an instrument and play it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but don't do it by ABC again. You'll see, I'll show you a pattern that you can do that has all the major and all the minor intervals in one pattern.
Okay.
And it's so simple to do.
Okay.
It's just so simple, it just sucks. I just can't imagine that. Music teachers are not teaching this stuff, and I have absolutely no idea why.
Well,
Because
the
it's
thing is,
essentially good playing.
it's called a little bit, it's called, there's a certain urgency that the student is feeling.
Mostly a lot of teachers are trying to turn students into performers. They're not worried about them as composers or understanding something about music on a higher level. They're just trying to turn them into a performer. So what happens is see it, say it, or doing it by rote works really fast. But then the problem with that is you can't figure out what you're up to. That's always an issue.
Thank you.
Yeah. This.